Good afternoon. It is Monday the 27th of April. It is the 42nd day of Pause, New York. And this is the 26th edition of Beer with the Old Growler. I'm the Old Growler, Pete LaFrance, and I'm glad to have you with me this afternoon. The reason we are here, of course, is because all of the pubs, bars, and taverns in New York have been closed down. And being a journalist covering the malt beverage industry and the hospitality industry, it's been a little difficult. And being a fan of bars myself, well, I tell you, what I've had to do is, if I can't go out to have a drink at 5 o'clock, well, I can invite the world to come in and have a drink with me. So today, let's see what we've got. The Henry Street Ale House, which is where I usually get my growler, to start out, to ease that dryness in the throat, is not open on Mondays now. So I've got to handle life myself. So I went into the back of the fridge, and I just uncorked a Magic Hat Feast of Fools, and this they say that it is a okay. What does they say it is? They don't say much. A holiday raspberry stout. And there is no date on this, but I know that I have had this in the refrigerator for, well, not in the refrigerator, but in the wine area for, if it's less than 3 years, I'd be surprised. Now, it does say there was some kind of alcohol content on here. I did see that, 5.3%. And it said that it was under pressure. Well, I just tried to uncork it to see exactly what kind of pressure it was, and it wasn't very pressurized. So let's pour this and see what we got. Well, it looks like we got ourselves a beer that is well, a dark beer for sure. It's a stout. There's no doubt about that it's a stout. Boy, it's got some berry flavor to it, or berry, Peter. What does it say on there? Somebody I have to turn the light on. Well, it's got some kind of berry on there. And if there's not enough of that in there, I've got another one over here. And I think this is a newer one, and this one is a little bit more alcoholic. So, well, anyways, it's 3 minutes past 5 o'clock. That means it's 3 minutes past time that I should have had a first sip of beer. I see there's 3 of you here. Welcome, the 3 of you. I hope you have a beer in your hands or another beverage of choice, and I'm going to taste this one and see what it's like. Well, it's a nice stout. Oh, it's not thick enough to be a stout, but you know, I think a stout would be a little tough on a day like today. Today is a cloudy day, but it's not cold, so we need a little. Well, stout's not terribly alcoholic. Well, normally it's not terribly alcoholic. There's a nice berry flavor to it, though. Let's see, maybe the newer bottle will tell me something. Oh boy, yes it will. Apparently this is a collaboration with somebody, but it doesn't say it. I feel it in my bones. But anyways, it says here, in medieval times, the celebration of darkness and light was marked with great halls filled with smoke and mirrors. Gilded goblets brimming with seasonal brews were lifted to lips speaking a language no longer known. The present connects the past through the brewer's art, and a beer of utter darkness is born. Feast of Fools Raspberry Stout. Gather thy friendly fools for a round and celebrate the oncoming darkness with sweet ale and glee. Okay, sweet ale, raspberry, and they have the alcohol content here of 7.2. So it's a smidge higher than what was over here. And I'm going to take another look at this and see if I can find it. 5.3. So that's more of a regular stout, and the other is a little bit juiced up. But we'll see how it is. Welcome. I see we've got 4 folks here. I thank somebody for the thumbs up. And here we are. Salut, Nostrovia, Skol, Prost, Chin Chin, Sante. That's about all I know. But cheers. Yeah. I'm not a real fan of flavored beers, but that's not a bad one. Won't kill you. Man, what the heck? It's here. Well, what else is here? Let's see what else is here. Later on, we'll be trying out. There's a couple of beers that kind of, both of them are called He Said. And there's I've got a cheat sheet around here somewhere to tell us about it. But these are relatively old as well. These are really from the back of the fridge, but really in the fridge. 21st Amendment Brewing Company, and one of them is a Belgian-Style Tripple, and the other is a Baltic-Style Porter. So we'll investigate those 2 later. Those are going to be our tasting beers for today. But I've been thinking of the raspberry flavor to this. And it appears to be, if it was brewed to celebrate well, not to celebrate, but to commemorate, to feast as the days get shorter and the earth gets darker and all that kind of good stuff. The winter time. So this has got to be a fest. It's got to come before Christmas sometime in there. So I'm thinking December beer, which reminds me of hearty meats and stews. Oh, I love stews. In fact, that brings me to the topic today that I've been thinking about, and it's has to do with the new lifestyle that we have. Well, there's 2 things going on. Of course, the restaurants closed down, and myself and my wife, restaurants are a rather important part of our lives. And so it means more home cooking. And I do have something called Blue Apron, which it puts together a mise en place for you, and they ship it out in a box and has instructions, and pretty much anybody can if you know basic cooking, you can get along. And what I like about it is the portion control is fantastic for 2 people. It's just enough, and the spices and herbs and flavor combinations that they have are some things that I could never afford to put together. All of those herbs and spices, cardamom, coriander, that type of thing. So it's excellent for trying out new flavors. And there is one thing I must say around here in downtown Brooklyn, bordering up on Brooklyn Heights and Cobble Hill and good places like that. It's a little tough to get. Well, I have been living here 30 years. It's tough it's not easy to come up with good fish, fresh fish, a fishmonger. So that's what Blue Apron is good for. But that means that there's other days of the week, of course, that we are cooking. And we have some really fine butchers in the area. And I've been, one of the butchers now is saying that if you call ahead, they'll have the cuts of meat ready for you. They're only open on, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You have to call ahead and make ask and ask and ye shall receive for a good price. So it got me thinking that it would be a good idea to do Sunday dinner type things. Roast chicken is always, I've always held that near and dear to my little heart for Sunday dinners. Different types of roast chicken, of course. And so I was thinking about what type. And for the rest of the week, we have a stew of some sort or a roast. So it dawned in my little head that chuck, beef chuck roast, is the basis and the basics for most beef stews that I've ever heard of. And so, and roast chicken, well, now how many ways can you roast a chicken? I mean, every country and every canton or every province in every country has got to have a special way that they cook chicken. So that's going to be an exploration. I'm going to start exploring how to roast different ways of roasting chicken and all the accompaniments. But the beef, that came down to looking for, we're talking, oh, Mop, here you have it right there. Yes, we're talking stews. And started to take a look, and this is just a perfunctory look at how many, Peter, have a drink. Oh, in fact, I have to refresh my, oh, thank you for the thumbs up. And I see Monica is here. I'm going to pour my little drink, the Feast of Fools. Cheers. Good to see you, my dear. Just on the subject of fishmongers in your neighborhood for thereabouts. What about fishes? I've done fishtails. And I pause because the reason I pause is because, as with any retail type of establishment, whether it's a pub, bar, tavern, butcher, grocery store, fishmonger, or cheese store, or anything, vibes are. I run on vibes. I'll have to try fishtails again, but it was a bad. I wouldn't say bad vibes. I would just say it was the vibe wasn't there. It didn't feel comfortable, I guess. I'm a delicate type. Yeah. All right. I took a perfunctory look at the different types of beef stews that are out there to try. And this is just the basics that are there. Top of the, well, I wouldn't say top of the list, but the one that I found most interesting is something called mechado from the Philippines. Hachi, H-A-C-H-E-E from the Netherlands. From France, of course, we've got both pot à feu and beef bourguignon. From Italy, Spezzatino. From Greece, Stafado. From Flanders, Carbonade. From Cuba, Ropa de Villa. From Vietnam, Bokko. And from Poland, Gulaz, G-U-L-A-S-Z, which I'm pretty sure borders on goulash, which borders on gulak. There's at least 3 or 4 versions of goulash, and that's going to be fun to try. And of course, many of these incorporate wine, but wherever there is some sort of a water or broth or something that's not heavily flavored, I might try to toss a little beer into that. I can see we've got another visitor. It's good to see you. We've got number 5 on there. I'm breaking a record almost. But anyways, beer stews. I was also amazed. Well, the definition of a stew, as I understand it, is food that is cooked in a liquid and then served with the that liquid made into a gravy of sorts. And then, of course, we have to define gravy, which is not the direct drippings or renderings of a cooked meat. So that's gives you an idea of it's a very general term. Usually less liquid than soups, and can be served. It doesn't not necessarily to have a bowl available to serve it with. You can serve it on a plate. So that's the basic idea of a stew. And so you can do all kinds of. I mean, there's. I choose beef stew because I've got the butcher and the availability, and it's there, and I can get. It's a really good quality. I'm hoping for a rainy day, because that way it will keep all the people away and at home, and I can try and go stand outside of Paisano's, my favorite, and possibly get the makings for dinners there. But Della Pietro's, I think, is going to be the target right now, because they do have a system for ordering ahead. I did try ordering ahead at Paisano's, and I had to stand in line anyway to pick it up. I don't know about their delivery systems. I haven't been able to call them on the phone, so it's going to have to be a recon mission. Oh, that's good. And not only that, but on the to show how old this bottle is, it's got a little gift tag here that says Feast of Fools Holiday to Peter from Magic Hat. Probably Liz just had a brain fart. Did PR for Magic Hat for a long time. Is it Magic Hat? No, wrong person, wrong brewery. Never mind. That I was thinking of the woman who worked at Mass Bay Harbor, Harpoon. So every once in a while I get the names and numbers mixed up. That's why it's a good idea to keep a script going and to make sure that you've got an outline, a list, punch list. I always wondered where that term came from, and the punch list. And oh gosh, I guess it's got to be 10 years ago, maybe a little more. A friend of mine restored, I guess, refinished, remodeled, built a new kitchen for us, and in doing so, of course, a carpenter, handyman, cabinet maker. He had the cabinet makers come in, like some great Ecuadorian family that the father, son, they did some fantastic cabinet work. But he had a list of everything that had to be done each day. And he said it was his punch list. And I said, well, why do they call it a punch list? And he said, because in the old days, even today, depending on the type of job that you've got, the piece of paper with the list on there, what you do is you take a nail and you punch through each one of them as you do them. So it's a punch list. I thought that was an interesting thing to learn. I found out what soffits were. I can't spell it, but it goes up along between the ceiling and the wall. There's right behind my head, right there. That right there is a soffit. See the way the wall comes down, the ceiling there, and then there's a little bit of a thing there, and then the wall. Well, that's called a soffit. So it's just amazing what you can learn every once in a while. Geez, 3 thumbs up. I must be doing a great job. Either that or it's just a good day. I don't know. Cheers, folks. Glad to have 5 of you with me today. The Old Growler, at least I feel that I've got somebody that I'm drinking with. Oh, there's always small little glitches that have to be handled. One of the glitches for myself is that I do like cocktails, but our freezer is too full to accommodate. Oh, greetings, Mary. Good to see you. Soffit, one of my favorite words to describe an architectural feature. S-O-F-F-I-T. Oh, wow. I would have come close, but I would probably put an E on it. I love to put E's at the end of words. I'm in the wrong era. I should have been in like the 17th century, and where the English was, you could pretty much make it up as you went along. Institution. Yeah. Okay. Well, that you've got me on. I'm going to have to go to the dictionary for that one. My architectural lingo jargon is sadly lacking. But I know a soffit when I see it. There we go. Oh dear. Oh. Let's see, what else is new and different? I was on a topic there and I lost it, but that's what happens when you get into a bar conversation. Bar conversations. There's a fellow who he runs the Art Students League in Manhattan. A fellow by the name of Bob Senandela. He's a unique artist, a graphic artist. He does some very interesting things. When I say interesting, he likes to be controversial. Put it that way. And there was a movie made about him that won a golden an award in France. The Golden Plume, but it's not. I can't remember the name of it. Palme d'Or. Yes, you can, Peter. Just stop and wait. A Palme d'Or, anyway. A couple of years ago. It was called The Art Bastard, and in it, I've known Bob for God, over 20 years. Back when I was working at Bev Media, he used to hang out in the same bar as I did, Broom Street Ale House, Broom Street Bar and Grill, Ken and Bob's Broom Street, and we used to have wonderful arguments. I leaned a little bit to the right at that time, and he definitely leans to the left. So stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. I remember the fun part was when we were introduced. I was introduced to Peter LaFrance. He looks at me, and the first thing he says, I mean, even without stopping for a second, he says, I was introduced to Peter LaFrance, and he looks at me and he goes, "That's a made-up name." And it is actually, because when apparently my ancestors got off the boat from Burgundy, they were woodsmen, and they were going over to Quebec, which is Lower Canada, to work as a better life. And at that time, the English had taken over from the French, and the ship arrives, of course, and everybody gets off, and you have the English apparatchik there, and he's taking names and doing all kinds of stuff that bureaucrats do. And so he gets his boat, comes in, and people all line up, and he gets to one, oh yes, welcome here. Now let's see now. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Okay. What's that? Oh. Où-avez-vous? And of course, my ancestors are not speaking English and busting his balls. And as far as the French went, of course, answered, "We are the French, La France." Oh, right. La France, L-A-F-R-A-N-C-E. And you, sir? La France. Well, very good. There we go. And the rest is history. I'm just glad that they weren't a little and said La Fleur or something like that, but there we go, La France. So, anyways, Brother Senandela, as I say, is a character, and in the movie, He is, well, of course, he's interviewed, but one of the scenes is they ask him about the fact that, like many writers, he hangs out in bars a lot. And his wife, Liz, was constantly berating him for that. Well, I wouldn't say constantly, but because this is on the record, so I mean, she was not terribly pleased. I'm sure, as most spouses, one way or the other, male or female, when their mate is out and indulging in beverage alcohol to a greater degree, can sometimes become upset. But Bob, his excuse was quite simple. He said that every time he goes to a bar, it's a one-act play. And I thought that was a profound thought, because it is. If you've got your regular friends there, of course, that's one act, and then you've got the if you are meeting someone new, if you never see them again in your life, or if you're going into a bar for the first time, it's a one-act play. A lot of fun too. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Or for you, you still got me confused on the vocabulary there, ma'am. But I was an ignorant fella. But anyways, so bars and conversations and artists and hanging out, and it's always something I miss it. Yes, I do. Oh, you added an A. Oh, I see. But E, I see. An E. Yeah. I need new glasses or a larger screen. I'm gonna have to work on that. But anywho, I'm gonna have a little bit more of this, and I hope you folks are having a libation. I'm gonna have to find a way to be able to look you in the eye, because I'm working down here and on the screen and watching my glass and other things. And you should always look somebody in the eye when you're talking to them. Unless you're a shifty fellow. And yeah, I know I could be shifty, all right. First gear, second gear. But boy. Oh, I can see through. Oh, well, I can't quite see through here. It's an opaque. No, wait. It's, well, there's a little bit more left in here. I'm going to give it a shot. Shot glass. I wonder where the name shot glass came from. A shot. Why would it be a shot? Why not a tumbler or that would be an acrobat. A shot. S-H-O-T. Has to come from some other language. Well, I don't know. Well, Peter, that's why dictionaries were invented. Yeah, I know. And you've got an iPhone somewhere that you can call up every word in the English language, if not other languages as well. Speaking of other languages, you're going to have to learn. It looks like Filipino, Italian, Greek, Flanders. Oh, there you go. That Belgium isn't just one place. It's Walloon and Flanders. Spanish, Cuban Spanish, Vietnamese. Oh boy. Polish. Oh, I forgot one of the best beef stew type situations there of all. Well, actually two of them, but well, one of them for sure. Chili. Oh, my sweet word. Tex-Mex chili, or chile con carne, chili with beef. Now, that would mean that chili was made with beans, but no. Chili, no beans chili. No. But that's the difference between Mexican chili and Tex-Mex chili, I think. Therefore, I am Rene Descartes. And the other one I forgot was beef stroganoff. Oh boy. I wish it was winter time. No, you don't, Peter. Because if it was winter time and you're still sitting here talking to a camera, that means you will have been in confinement for damn close to a year. And that's no, yeah, I would be, or worse. But yeah, these are a travel around the world by just beef. I contemplated for a while doing sandwiches. I was going to go to particularly in Queens and here in Brooklyn, to go to the different ethnic neighborhoods, to the sandwich shops, and find out what sandwiches were indigenous to a particular country, and then pair it up with a beer from that indigenous country. And now I'm sitting here and not able to do that. Boy, am I lucky. Jeez. You know, this is a perfect excuse for a lazy person. You know, well, I've got to sit here. Yes, sir, Bob. I'm not going out there and infecting other people. No, sir. I'm staying here. Boy, am I lazy. No, come on up here. I did have an epiphany today as we were going to pick up. You know, not only do I enjoy beer, of course, and being a barfly, a professional barfly, I also enjoy spirits and wine, fruit of the grape. And there's a neat little, oh, come on, I've got to have it right here. It's underneath my, oh, I love files and good shit when you can't find them. Okay, what have I got here? And this is, this is not a paid advertisement, but Wetwhistle Wines, 357 Van Brunt Street in Brooklyn, New York. And it is Corey Hill, a buddy of mine. I've known him for years, and finally I had the brains enough to figure out that I knew he was a wine merchant for a while, but I didn't know that he had opened I did know that he'd opened a store, but it had a liquor store, but wine, a purveyor of beverage alcohol other than beer. So I've been, as I mentioned about the butcher, where you can call ahead and order up and go pick it up, or have it delivered these days, but I don't think the butcher will do that, but Corey will. And it's been fun because, particularly with the wines, I tell him, here's X amount of dollars, I want a case of wine. And we go pick it up and come back, and I would say maybe 3 or 4 of the bottles there are esoteric, to say the least. I know we got one from a Croatian one in the last case, a Red Hook red wine Merlot, and there've been some real I mean ones where you go, some Austrians, Italian and French, of course, but there have been some, the regions are just a Chilean. We had a Chilean Sauvignon, no, Cabernet Sauvignon, but Chilean red. It was marvelous with the dish that we had, and so it's been a lot of fun. It's similar to walking into a restaurant and you sit down, and the waiter, and you're a regular there, you know, of course, and the waiter comes over and says, "Hey, man, you know, buddy, how's it going?" And, well, pretty good. Well, what you gonna want? What do you want today? You want to see the menu? No, I pretty much know what's on the menu, but why don't you tell chef that I'm sitting here and I'm willing to spend X amount of money, you know, feed me. And I've had a chance to do that 3 times in my life. Twice in local establishments, and once at a rather upscale white tablecloth establishment. And it's fun because the chef gets to show off, and in this case, the wine merchant, Corey, gets to show off as to what's interesting. Today we made a run, but it wasn't for wine. It's for cocktails, you see, because I don't have enough room in the freezer for a bag of ice, and we don't have an ice maker. So what I've managed to figure out is that 6-ounce pickle jars with the bell tops bell was just enough for 2 cocktails. And so if you make the cocktails up, particularly Negronis, Manhattans, Old Fashions, Martini, the basics, you can put them in these little pickle jars and put them in the freezer. And an hour later, they're about as cold as you're going to want them. And so if I've got a lot of pickle jars in the freezer. That's an interesting way to make cocktails, but one does improvise, doesn't one? Okay, well, we're running a little, well, I wouldn't say late, but we're running on time here. I've got 3 of yous with me. 3 of yous. Oh, you're welcome. Let's see. Well, we got the he said, and this comes from 21st Amendment. Of course, Prohibition. Every so often we get an urge to try something totally new, like an unorthodox recipe or an unexpected package, or in this case, a little both. The box that these beers came in, 2 cans each of each style. Remember, once these 4-packs are gone, they're gone. So this is a one-off. And take a look at the bottom of the can and find out exactly how old these are. And these are not young beers. Okay. We've got the 2 of them on here, the darker one here. We're going to start with that one. And this is a Belgian. We're going to start with the, let's see now. Hold on. The spectacles. 8.2, 8. They're both 8.2% alcohol by volume, so nobody wins on that one. Okay. We got a choice between a Belgian-style triple and brewed with pumpkin and spices. Uh-oh. And the other one is a Baltic-Style Porter. Baltic-Style Porter? It's a lager brewed with pumpkin and spices. Okay, we got pumpkin and spices in both. One is an ale, a Belgian-style triple ale, and the other is a Baltic-style porter. Okay. Well, now, why don't I crack open the lighter one first? Why don't we do that? The lager brewed with pumpkin and spices. That's the he said Baltic-style. Whoops. No. We want the ale. The lighter one first. The Belgian-style triple. Ale brewed with pumpkin and spices. Okay, that's the one I started out with. And it says here, the story starts in 2010 when Dick Cantwell walked into our San Francisco pub. We'd heard about his little pumpkin fest and wanted to get together to brew a pumpkin beer like no other, a Belgian-style triple brewed with pumpkin, galangal, and tarragon in a dark-colored can. Galangal and tarragon. Now I know what tarragon is, but galangal? All right. The malts, 2-row, aromatic, Belgian, and candy sugar. The 2-row is the lightest you can get. Aromatic is a little bit darker. The Belgian candy sugar malt is just about like that. It would be an amber, definitely an amber. Special ingredients: pumpkin puree and pumpkin juice. The hops, a German Northern brewer, a U.S. Golding, and Sterling. I'm not familiar with any of those hops. Spices, Galangal and Tarragon, and the yeast is a Trappist ale yeast. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for an amber type of a beer with a pumpkin pie flavor to it. And I don't know what the hell the yeast are going to do, but they're going to fight about themselves, I reckon. And do we have IBUs on here? No, we don't. I'm surprised. They've told me an awful lot. Now let's see if it tells us anything on here about IBUs. No, it doesn't. It's got some really interesting artwork on there, probably the collaboration of the two breweries. But let's crack one more thing. Here we go. This is the interesting part. Canned on July 31st, 2014. Okay, so it's 6 years old. All right. Let's see what I was going to say what a 6-year-old tastes like, and I'm not going to do that. There we go. All right. We're going to crack open a 6-year-old, he said, Belgian-Style Tripple. Shut up, Peter, and do it. All right, I'm doing it. All right, so far so good. Well, faked you out. I don't see any amber there at all. I see a dusty glass. That's why there's a lot of bubbles on there. The carbonation of the holes, I see a lot of bubbles right there. See all the bubbles on the side of the glass? That means I didn't wipe it out before tasting. All right, well, pumpkin spices, man. Here we go. Where's the spices, boss? Oh, I don't know. Don't ask me. Where are the spices, boss? I said, don't ask me. Well, unfortunately, I have no idea what Galangal tastes like. And I can only hope that that's what I'm tasting, because I don't taste anything else. But I mean that seriously. That little baby has gone to sleep and not woke up. It's probably the first time you've ever seen me just have 2 or 3 sips of a beer and put it down. All right, let's go to the other one. He said, this is the Baltic-Style Porter. Okay, a porter. It's got to be dark. Okay, please. It's a lager brewed with pumpkin. All right. With, again, pumpkin spices. And this one, the story starts in 1999 when Sean O'Sullivan walked into me Seattle pub. He'd heard about my massive pumpkin fest and wanted to get together and brew a pumpkin beer. So this one has, as far as the malts go, 2-row, same as the other, Carafa 2 and Cara Vienna. Now with the oops, and a Carafa 3. So the Carapils is a very, it's a nice heavy body to this, hopefully. The hops, German Northern and Styrian Golding. Sometimes they're pretty much the same. Oh, spices. Vietnamese cinnamon and caraway seed. Caraway seed, like rye bread, eh? Okay, German lager yeast. Now that makes sense. All right, I can handle German lager well. I'll try to handle German lager yeast. Let's see what we got here. There's, again, not as much, there's no very little information on the can here. It has been beat up a little bit. And let's just check on the bottom to make sure it is also, yes, it was brewed on the same date, or bottled, or canned on the same date. Get that away from the computer. Okay. Okay. Even the little foam on here looks dark. All right. What do we got here? Okay, we got us. It looks like a stout to me. And it says it's a porter. Porter. Okay, well, let's see if I can get any light. No, doesn't seem to be getting much light through it. Okay. So the head is nicely knit. Nicely knit. By knit, I mean the bubbles are closely packed together. They're not too dense. They're not heavy like whipped cream. And there's a lot of big bubbles breaking on the top, which means that is the carapils. It's really got a lot of protein in it. That has a funny smell. What the fuck has this got in it? Oh, the caraway. That's a ticket. Can't smell the cinnamon, but I'm getting the caraway, and that is the weirdest thing. Well, being that I wasn't quite too sure what to expect, this has got to be one of the more interesting flavored beers that I've ever had. In that there's a bunch of subtle little flavors going on there. I get the caraway for sure. The cinnamon, I'm not getting too much. But that's a pleasant dark beer. It kind of beats out Feast of Fools in that, first of all, it doesn't have any fruit in it. I got to give it that. Not that fruit is bad. In some cases, it is very refreshing. But this is a the caraway with the hops are really fun. A fun flavor. I mean, we kind of it's intriguing. Your mind isn't quite too sure what to make of it, and yet it's not off-putting at all. It's kind of fun. It must be like, well, to me, it's similar to listening to Middle Eastern music in Arabic, and not understanding the words at all, but feeling the melody and sensing what the words are, whether the guy's in love or he's not, or she's in love or not. But you can get an impression, and it's a favorable impression of something that you're unfamiliar with, and that's pretty much what this is. I'm definitely unfamiliar with it, but it certainly is pleasant. The most pleasant of the three beers today. And glad that I didn't, well, we'll have to save the other Feast of Fools for another time. I'm not quite getting down to the end of the, but as you can see how old some of these are. Over the years, breweries have sent me samples, and I haven't been as diligent in tasting them, or had the opportunity to taste them, either with other people or in an environment like this. But it's interesting. I'm going to have to get in touch with 21st Amendment and see if they still remember doing these beers. Well, at least this one. The other poor little fellow, no. Whatever he said, he said. Whatever he said, he said. But if he said it, he didn't say it. And that one certainly wasn't said. That said, I'll leave it at that. Well, I want to thank the three of you for sharing my beers with me today. It's been a thin slice of paradise, so to speak. I'm not too sure what I have in store for tomorrow. Unfortunately, I don't. Well, fortunately, I suppose it is. I don't plan that far ahead. It's pretty much come and go. But with any luck, tomorrow morning I'll take some time off, and rather than mucking about trying to answer all the little messages that I get, I'll let them pile up for a few hours and go and make that beer soup you were talking about, Peter. Perform. Come on now, you can do it. You've got a growler of that flat stout, and you've got plenty of onions, and if you don't chop those onions up or slice them up, they're going to sprout, and then you're going to have sprouted onions, and that's not a good thing. In any event, let's see, how far, what are we at now? 52. Wait, we're 51? I've gone on for 50. Oh, 50. Oh, no, still almost an hour. Well, kids, as I say, it's been a thin slice of paradise. I want to thank the three of you for stopping by. And for those of you who watch this, who binge watch this, I was told that I've been informed at least somebody out there binge watches this. If you've been doing that and you've gotten this far, thank you very much. Pardon, executive clemency, please. Because if I ask for pardon, that means I actually did something. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and share if you think somebody else would like to watch me talk for an hour. Please send them, or if you don't like someone and you really think that it would be, you know, a real joke to send them watching somebody drink beer for an hour, send them my and I'll be perfectly glad to bore them to death for an hour. And certainly a thumbs up would be appreciated. I've got 3 thumbs up today, and I've got 3 people left, and that's, I figure that's 100%. You can't do any better than that, as far as I can tell. Well, it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have enjoyed it. Hoping you all stay safe, stay well, and see you tomorrow.